Welcome back to the Social Web TV, and we have a special episode today. We are on location at the Computer History Museum in Mountain View, California for a special event, the Internet Identity Workshop.
I'm sure you remember the episode from last November. We had a whole bunch of people on. And there's, as usual, a ton of stuff going on here, but we wanted to focus on one particular guest who I'm sure you recognize from past episodes for a truly historic announcement worthy of being in the Computer History Museum.
Welcome back, Luke Shepard of Facebook.
Thanks, John.
Hey. And what an appropriate setting we have here, because indeed history is being made this week. Big announcement out of Facebook following on something that happened a few weeks ago, announced that Facebook would become an OpenID relying party, and drum roll please, what happened this week, Luke?
Facebook became the largest OpenID relying party in the world.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
What the heck is an OpenID relying party? I actually know the answer, but...
talk about what you released.
So we this week rolled out an early release of making it possible for you to log into Facebook using an OpenID. So OpenID is a protocol for allowing identity providers to let users that already have an account somewhere use that to quickly sign up for or log into another site. And so we are using OpenID in two places in our site. First is you can link any OpenID with your account. So if you already have a Facebook account, you go in, you play every day. Maybe you start up your computer. So this is what I do every day. I start my computer, go to my email, go to my Facebook, and type in a password in both places. And so this can sort of make that more convenient. So you can link your email account with your Facebook account, and now when you go to Facebook, you can automatically log in without having to enter a password, because it detects that you're logged into your provider.
And then the second way, if you happen to be a lucky person who got invited.
Oh, right. So that's a pretty useful feature for convenience for existing users, and we're hoping it will increase engagement. For the second one, is to really help our growth, is for users who have an account with another site and want to log in and sign up for Facebook for the first time. They can bring their contacts with them, and we can get all sorts of pain points that usually happen in the registration flow. So if you ever go to a site and sign up, you have to enter a form, fill out your name, fill out your email, fill out all this information. And then sometimes they'll say, we just sent you an email, go to your email provider and click on the link and confirm that you own that, and that's really annoying. And then we have to figure out, we're a social site, so we have to figure out who all your friends are. That's kind of annoying. So the nice thing is we're working on a way using open standards to ease that flow for our users. And we've rolled that out. Right now we're in a trial phase with Google as our first partner, or the first OpenID provider that we're using, but we're using open standards, so it could work with pretty much anybody who supported all of the standards and provided useful data.
And yeah, I mean, it's just, it's such a big deal for so many reasons. I mean, Facebook showing this level of support and actually going out and being an early adopter for OpenID is huge. Doing it on the relying party side, so, there's been, I think, discussion in the industry about, a lot of big providers are happy to let people take their account to other sites, but when it comes to honoring other people's accounts, they're a little bit more reluctant to do so. And so, I think Facebook is realizing, like everybody else, right? Like the same reason we did it at Plaxo is that, it's hard to get users to sign up and fill out yet another password and fill out yet another profile and pull in their friends and all of that. And if you can make it easier and more secure, that should be a win for everyone, right?
Yeah.
And so, even if you're as big as Facebook, you still care about all those same things.
Right, we care a lot. We're growing very fast. Over 200 million users now, and it's important to us that it's easy for users to connect and share with their friends.
So this whole thing, put it in perspective, OpenID has been slowly gathering momentum over the last 2 years, and we got to this state over the last 12 months where the big companies have become OpenID providers. There haven't been that many big relying parties. Plaxo, in many ways, has played this role of, in this chicken and egg game, right, getting there to be a site where you can walk up with those credentials and have something work smoothly. So having Facebook join in anyway in that space is a really big deal, but if you were a skeptic, you might have thought, well, they'll become an OpenID provider just like the other big guys, but not accept credentials. So to see Facebook come in as a relying party really adds momentum to this. It makes this something that everyone's got to pay attention to.
And, as we've certainly experienced and you're now experiencing, this is still early days for OpenID. So, the different providers don't all behave exactly the same way. They don't all support the current best practices. And so, getting to the point where there's a uniform user experience and where you can really have this sort of tight integration is something that, you can sort of only make progress on that by trying it now, realizing the pain, and then working back and forth to address that pain, right? So it's courageous for an early adopter to say, I realize it's not a completely smooth experience right now, but I'm going to get in there anyway and help make it better. And I'm sure you're seeing that now, right?
No, the whole Facebook engineering culture, the whole company is to move fast and iterate and just move quickly. So this is our initial release. We're putting it out there. We're collecting data, seeing how people are using it, and we're going to be testing and tweaking and pushing out different code. That's how we do everything. And so we're right now looking into some other ways of improving it.
So, for example, the case you mentioned of you go to your webmail and then you come to Facebook and it recognizes that you already signed in and it just logs you in.
Right.
Well, that's something that OpenID supports in general. But right now it works with Google, but I think not with Yahoo and not with AOL and a few others. And those companies just haven't gotten around to adding that, or there's additional security or usability constraints or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that's now an apparent thing that you can work on and make better. And
Well, that's what we've been talking about this whole week at the conference. I've been talking to Yahoo and AOL, and a lot of the major providers are looking to add support soon.
Yeah. So that's cool, right? That's how you actually make progress and figure out that the interoperability is really there.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, like this event, the Internet Identity Workshop, it happens every 6 months. And each time I'm blown away by how much progress we've made since the last. Like, it was actually at the Internet Identity Workshop 6 months ago that Joseph, you, and a number of other people actually sort of figured out how to make this hybrid of OpenID and OAuth, maybe together with a contacts API like Portable Contacts, deliver something that you couldn't do with any one of the pieces separately. You want to talk about
OpenID or IIW always blows me away like that. So it was last November where all those pieces came together, and it was me and Alan Tom from Yahoo and a bunch of the Google guys and some Microsoft guys, and we sort of all fit those pieces together and sort of realized, like you said, when a person wants to sign up and bring in their profile and a validated email address and pull in their contacts and do that all at once, that's where you start to bundle enough value together where it really does make more sense than doing it the old-fashioned way. Yeah. And we had a bunch of sort of insights at the sort of technical and security levels. We started hacking it up and prototyping it, and then early spring, Plaxo and Google rolled out that famous 92% result where we first sort of started showing that it could work. And here we are now just 6 months later, and it's out on Facebook as well, and FriendFeed is doing the same thing. And so, I mean, it's literally hot off the press, and it just shows that when these things really do work, we're in this great environment here where it's really not hard for even very large companies to move quickly when there's real value to be had and help keep experimenting.
Yeah, so the growth flow has been particularly impressive. We've had several engineers working really hard on the growth teams and from the design team at Facebook that have been building out these flows and testing them. So we've seen an increase in users who come in, and because they bring their contacts with them, so it's seamless, they don't have to worry about it. We're able to find their friends much more quickly that already are on the site, and then that gets them connecting and logged on much more quickly.
Right. So you're not doing this as a altruistic or PR kind of thing. This is actually already driving real business benefit, right?
Yeah. So that's part of why we're moving quickly and iterating. It's part of what we mean when we say move fast and iterate. Is it's got to be, so Facebook's definitely a business, and we're only going to roll out changes to our homepage or to our registration flow if they impact either increasing our growth or our engagement of our users and making it easier for people to share. We don't want to roll out a technology that's going to hurt the user experience or make it harder for people to do something. So that's been one of the big drawbacks to OpenID historically, is the user experience.
Right. And Facebook's been very involved in trying to get in and help make that better.
Well, so last fall we released Facebook Connect, which is our version of being an identity provider to applications out on the web. And again, our design teams and engineering team worked really hard to sort of make that user experience very seamless. And since then, we've been looking at OpenID and figuring out what are the things that are missing from OpenID that are present in Facebook Connect that we think are really good and contribute to the user experience, and how can we integrate some of those into the community. So, automatic login is one example, putting the dialogue in a pop-up. So when you use Connect, you use a pop-up, and until a few months ago, nobody did that with OpenID. And Alan Tom from Yahoo and some Breno from Google have been working on a extension that we're using now as part of this flow
that supports pop-ups for OpenID.
So we're still for Facebook Connect, we're still innovating a lot in that area and trying to increase the identity or increase the user experience there, make it better. But with the relying party, we thought that the best way to make it better would be to become a relying party, because we can understand the experience. We're sort of eating our own dog food.
Right.
We believe that the distributed web and the ability for someone to take an identity from one place and use it somewhere else is really, really important. And we think it makes it easier for users. And we believe in that so strongly that we're doing that for our own users as well. So I think that's...
And now you've got, you guys in particular, both rowing in the same boat as relying parties of sites that are, putting this into production and have growth numbers pegged to it.
Right.
Your feedback to the identity providers is now very much non-theoretical. It's very much grounded in here's the numbers. So.
And it's so valuable to have multiple sites, each with their own particulars that can replicate results and share feedback and figure out what things are different. So it's great to not just be me like going over and whining to Google and Yahoo and saying please do these things, but to actually have a whole community of people trying to figure this stuff out. It really will mean we get to a better product faster.
I think one thing people might be confused about, though, is in this world where we've got OpenID, but we also have Facebook Connect, like how do they interrelate? How should people think about that? And it's also just a kind of delicious coincidence or irony. It's like within weeks, we've had these two same events. One is Plaxo becoming a Facebook Connect site and Facebook becoming an OpenID site. And if your head is spinning, that's okay, but these are very much parallel efforts that can influence each other.
We can't keep track of it either.
Well, like as Luke said, when we think of the web going social, that's not a technology-specific thing. That's a general concept, right? That lots of users are on the web now. Lots of users are filling out profiles and setting up accounts and connecting to their friends. And you shouldn't have to do that from scratch on every new website that you go to, right? I mean, I think that's a pretty basic concept. And in particular, if you've got a bunch of data, whether it's in a Google or a Facebook or a Plaxo or wherever, it should be easy for you to go to a new site and say, hey, I'm already on this other service. Can we just start from there? And so Facebook Connect is providing that in one way. OpenID, and in particular, the sort of the open stack of OpenID and OAuth and portable contacts is providing that in a different way. And obviously, other sites can't use Facebook Connect as providers because it's specific to Facebook, but it's allowed Facebook to go in and add a lot of extra UI innovation and widgets and everything else to really complete the experience. So it does in many ways look, I think, like a more advanced or futuristic version of what we're doing with OpenID, but the two efforts as a result are very complementary, right? Because you ultimately need something that will go across the whole web. And so, I think it's, like you say, it's very good for them to help influence each other.
Yeah. So you can try it out if you want. You can go to if you have a Facebook account and you want to see what it's like to link an OpenID to your account, you can just go to your Facebook account and go to your settings page. There's a section called linked accounts, and you can just click on that and add an OpenID.
And it's one of the reasons for you guys to release early is that you want to get a lot of actual interoperability feedback about all the different providers and which ones work and which ones don't, right?
Yeah, I've already gotten a lot of feedback this week, so we're working through some issues with some of the smaller providers
But if you run an OpenID provider, you should absolutely go try to link your account to Facebook, and if it doesn't work, go bug Luke and you guys can figure out who's the bugs on each side and get it all
Facebook
working
Developer
out.
Forum.
Facebook, okay.
Yeah.
Or we'll give you his special email here, yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's been really eye-opening, and it's helped sort of. We've been working very closely with a lot of the major providers, just to make sure that the experience is really good. And I'm looking forward to, like Joseph said, the user experience can be really good if people are just able to sort of seamlessly link their accounts from different places together. And that's really the goal of what we're trying to go towards. Is to make it, it's the mission of the site, of our company, is to make it easier for users to connect with real world people and the services that they use, and just make it easier for them to share. So I think we're pretty excited about it.
It's just so cool that we can figure this all out as a work in progress out on the live web so that users can come along at each step, right? So I know with your implementation, I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff you want to do additionally, right? You're still taking passwords and doing other things. But if you think about it, if the alternative was to wait another 6 months before you launched anything, I don't think that would have been better for the community than saying, here's an early implementation that does some things but not everything, but allows us to start making real progress and allows people to participate and shows your support for OpenID. And I think companies that can step up and say, yeah, let's figure it out in real time with the community and realize that we're not there yet, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't start, I think is a very powerful and laudable thing.
Well, you brought up the fact that we, for even users that log in, we require an email and password, which is the usual way you log into Facebook. And that's, basically it's part of our whole getting out early. There's some big challenges to having a big site that doesn't have a password for their users. It'd be great if we could get there, but there's, a few things that sort of prove blockers. And so rather than just throwing up our hands and waiting until somebody else figured that out, we just decided to get out there and sidestep the issue. So we're going to require a password, but we're also going to allow you to link your account. Right. And so we get to see some of the benefits of OpenID, and we'll see. We're just going to keep iterating, I think, to see more.
Cool. Well, we certainly applaud your efforts. Congratulations, Luke, and everyone at the Facebook team.
I also want to applaud the rest of the engineers that sort of worked on it. There's a pretty big team at Facebook that's been very supportive all the way from the whole organization is really supportive of open standards and of making sure that this stuff works.
Cool. Well, I mean, I have to say, it's like this news makes me so optimistic for what's going to happen in this space, as well as this event. I mean, in that next room, there are people from all of the big social networks, all of the big internet companies, people from smaller companies, from the community, working together on the set of problems that we need to solve over the next few months. So
there's enterprise and consumer, and it really is this magic moment of everyone coming together and realizing that the pie is about to get a whole lot bigger, and we don't need to be fighting over a little slice right now. Let's all jump in and figure out how to make the web more social and interoperable. And when you put all those big people together, I mean, wow, like you say, every 6 months it blows our mind, even though we're in the middle of it.
It also excites me because it means we're going to have a lot more to talk about every week. So make sure you come back next week for another exciting episode of the Social Web TV.